Good evening. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Toya Singh. On this show, we aim to look at the day's top stories through the lens of just the facts. For our first story today, it is impossible not to focus on the situation in the NCR region 3 days after the Nuh incident. As you know, the district of Nuh in Haryana saw violent clashes on Monday afternoon. We spoke about this on the show yesterday too. This was an incident that led to the death of at least 6 people. Now, the incident proved to be a spark in the powder keg as we've watched multiple incidents of arson and protest take place across Haryana in the hours since, with perhaps the most stark being in Gurugram, where a deputy imam was killed by a group of almost 80 people. Now, this afternoon, the Chief Minister of the state of Haryana addressed a press conference where he called the Nuh violence on Monday, the original incident, a conspiracy. But we look to take a deeper dive into the last 3 days' events. We're going to try to understand on the show, A, exactly what happened, but B, why different incidents across the state just kept happening over the last 3 days. First, let's take a look at a timeline. Let's start with July 31st, the day in question, Monday, 10 a.m., when the VHP and the Bajrang Dal began their yatra. Now, they began this yatra on Civil Lines, which is a place in Gurgaon. This is a yatra that they'd already done successfully on the same route 3 years previously. This was the 4th time they were doing this. We know the police says that they deployed about 1,000 police officials at various different points that they thought were points of concern across the route. That's what had been done from the police's side. Now, July 31st, 12 p.m., about 2 hours later, the procession had travelled from Civil Lines down to Nuh. This was not where they were hoping to go. They were hoping to go further down. But at Nuh itself, stones were pelted after sloganeering. Clashes took place. And when you take a deeper dive, the VHP, which was a part of that procession, they organized the procession. They say that they were attacked by a group of locals. We know that there was 2 sides conflict that took place. We'll describe what happened and the aftermath. But let's move ahead. Let's force forward slightly to a few hours after, July 31st, the same day, 5:30 p.m. We received news from the administration that internet has been suspended. Section 144 has been imposed. The same day, 6 p.m., about 1 hour later, and this is where things get particularly stark, the violence spreads to other parts of the same state. So in Gurugram, we're learning that incidents have taken place. On the Sona highway, we learn that violence has spilled to parts of the highway itself. On August 1st, we learned, so the day after that, the Chief Minister of the state chairs a meeting. It's important to note that this entire time, the Home Minister, Anil Vij, commented. He was this entire time in Ambala. He also makes a comment about the entire situation. We'll share that with you. But the Home Minister is followed by his comment by the Haryana Chief Minister, who chairs, as we just said, a key meeting. Now, on the same day, 44 cases are registered, over 116 people are arrested. As we told you, Section 144 had been put in certain places. Now we learn that it's been imposed in 7 different districts in Haryana. Now, let's take a deeper look at what happened in Nuh itself. Of course, there are varying accounts. If you take a look at the FIR that was filed by the police, this is what the FIR says. A, that a mob attacked a group of yatris and that mob was shouting slogans. It says that the police team was attacked and that this took place in the Adbar Chowk area. It says that the mob was of around 600 to 700 people. It attacked a police station. Now, it's also said that it was an unruly and violent crowd that pelted stones. This is all language in the FIR that we are sharing with you right now. It's also said that 70 people were taken into custody and 44 FIRs were lodged. These are the details according to the FIR, as we just said. Now, today, the Nuh DM and the SP have both given a statement. They gave an update on the situation. They've claimed that 116 people have been arrested until now. Now, this is obviously one version. We're going to take a deeper look at the different versions in this story. The Haryana violence, a conspiracy or sheer negligence? That's the deeper dive we're taking on Plain Speak tonight.
just burst into the wall, the boundary wall of the police station. They went inside, and then all the vandalism took place.
Currently, at the place at which I am reporting from, it's in Nuh, and this was one of the epicenter of the violence that broke out yesterday.
मेरी जनता से अपील भी है कि वो लोग शांति बनाए रखें और चूँकि आपसी तनाव में भाईचारा बिगड़ता है, भाईचारा बना करके रखने से ही अपने प्रदेश की खुशहाली है।
जो लंदन में हुआ बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, पर आइंदा इस तरह से गड़बड़ी ना हो उसके लिए भारत सरकार और हरियाणा सरकार पूरे तौर के ऊपर प्रत्यनशील
तीर्थ यात्री शांतिपूर्ण थे, उन पर हमला किया गया। हमला 700-800 लोगों ने किया, जिनके पास में अवैध बंदूकें, बॉम्ब, लाठी और पत्थर थे। ये सरासर चुनौती थी।
प्रशासनिक चूक हुई है, प्रशासनिक विफलता रही है। जो पुलिस कर्मियों को तैनात करना चाहिए था, प्रशासन को तैनात करना चाहिए था, अगर कोई प्रोसेशन निकल रहा था इस तरीके से, और अगर कहीं चूक रही है तो सरकार को सोचना पड़ेगा।
हरियाणा सरकार उस यात्रा को सुरक्षा देने में पूरे तौर से विफल रही है।
Okay, to get a deeper dive on what the administration has to say, I wanted to start with an interview. We were able to secure an interview with Krishnpal Gurjar. He's the union minister. He's also a Faridabad MP. Remember, in Haryana, Faridabad is in fact the most populous state. Let's go over to him to understand the official reaction over here. Sir, हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए धन्यवाद। आप हमें बता सकते हैं फरीदाबाद में अभी स्थिति क्या है?
देखिए, वहाँ बिल्कुल सामान्य स्थिति है। वहाँ कोई इस तरह के हालात नहीं हैं, और वहाँ सिर्फ सारी हालात को देखते हुए वहाँ पर स्कूल एक दो दिन के लिए बंद किए थे, इंटरनेट आज तक के लिए बंद है, लेकिन वहाँ स्थिति सामान्य है। कोई वहाँ इस तरह की कोई मैं समझता हूँ कोई ऐसा दुर्घटना वहाँ पर नहीं घटी है। सामान्य स्थिति वहाँ पर है।
ऑलराइट सर, अब हम नूह के घटना के बारे में बात करते हैं जो सोमवार को हुआ था। सर, आप हमें बताइए, वीएचपी का कहना था कि एक इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर था पुलिस की तरफ से, इस पे आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है?
देखिए, मेरा इतना कहना है, ये जो शोभा यात्रा है विश्व हिंदू परिषद हर वर्ष इस श्रावण मास में वो हर वर्ष निकालती है, और उसकी परमिशन भी लेती है, इजाजत भी लेती है, उसका रूट भी बताती है, और हर वर्ष बहुत शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से ये यात्रा निकलती थी। और जिस तरह ये यात्रा निकलती थी उसको जितनी फोर्स चाहिए उतनी फोर्स वहां पर उपलब्ध रहती थी, और इस बार भी सामान्य स्थितियों की तरह वो फोर्स उपलब्ध थी। लेकिन कुछ शरारती तत्व मुझे लगता है कुछ लोगों का षड्यंत्र इसमें नजर आता है, लेकिन वो जांच के बाद पता चलेगा कि इसका मास्टरमाइंड कौन है, जिन्होंने इस शोभा यात्रा पर पत्थर बरसाए, गोलियां चलाई शांतिपूर्ण यात्रा पर। तो मुझे लगता है कोई सुनियोजित तरीके से किया गया हमला था, और ये जांच का विषय है, और जैसे जैसे जांच आगे बढ़ेगी सारी तस्वीर साफ हो जाएगी कि इसके पीछे कौन था और किसकी मानसिकता इसके पीछे काम कर रही थी।
सर, बट आपके ही सरकार के जो डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं, हरियाणा के जो डेप्यूटी चीफ मिनिस्टर है दुष्यंत चौटाला, उनका कहना है कि पुलिस के तरफ से भी मिसमैनेजमेंट रही है। सर, उस पे आपका क्या कहना है?
मैं कह रहा हूँ सामान्य स्थितियों में जितनी फोर्स चाहिए उतनी वहां पर उपलब्ध थी, क्योंकि जो पूर्व में शोभा यात्रा निकली हैं उनको अगर मद्देनजर रखेंगे तो कोई इस तरह की अंदेशा था नहीं, दूर दूर तक भी ना वीएचपी को था और ना जिला प्रशासन को था। अगर ये अंदेशा होता तो मैं समझता हूँ उसकी व्यवस्था जिला प्रशासन भी करता और सरकार भी करती, लेकिन इसका दूर दूर तक कोई अंदेशा नहीं था, ना कोई ऐसी सूचना प्राप्त हुई थी। और जहां तक ये वीडियो की बात है, वीडियो मैंने भी सुना है, उसमें ये कहा है कि भाई शोभा यात्रा में ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग भाग लें, ऐसा मैंने वीडियो में सुना है, जो बार बार टीवी पे दिखाया जा रहा है। इससे ज्यादा उस वीडियो में और कुछ है नहीं। तो इसलिए जितनी सामान्य स्थितियों में फोर्स चाहिए उतनी वहां पर उपलब्ध थी।
ओके, बट सर हमारे संवाददाता जो हैं ग्राउंड पे, उनका ये कहना है कि वीडियोस दोनों तरफ से आए थे और पुलिस को इस पूरे प्रोसेशन से पहले ही उन वीडियोस के बारे में पता था। सर इस पे आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है, इस पे आपका क्या कहना है?
पिछले 8.5 साल से और 9 साल से देश में मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में भारत एक, भारतवासी एक, इस भावना को लेकर पूरे देश में सरकार काम कर रही है और देश आगे बढ़ रहा है। इसी तरह हरियाणा में भी मनोहर लाल जी के नेतृत्व में हरियाणा एक, हरियाणवी एक, इस भावना को लेकर लगातार हरियाणा चहुमुखी विकास की तरफ आगे बढ़ रहा है। मुझे लगता है कुछ लोगों को ये सामान्य स्थिति और बढ़ता हुआ हरियाणा, बढ़ता हुआ देश पसंद नहीं है। वो ऐसे हालात में भाईचारे को समाप्त करने की जो उन्होंने साजिश रची है, इसमें वो कहीं ना कहीं वो नजर आता है कि इतने अच्छे तरीके से यहाँ पर सबको साथ लेकर दोनों मोदी जी और मनोहर जी की सरकार देश और प्रदेश में चल रही हैं। उस भाईचारे को कैसे समाप्त किया जाए, उनमें कैसे आपस में मतभेद पैदा किए जाएं, इसमें लगता है कुछ शरारती तत्वों ने ये चक्रव्यूह रचा है, जो जांच में धीरे धीरे जांच से आगे बढ़ेगी, सारी तस्वीर साफ होगी।
बट सर आपके ही कॉलीग का ये कहना है, मैं MOS राव इंद्रजीत सिंह की बात कर रही हूं अभी, उनका ही कहना है कि जो प्रोसेशन था मंडे को, उस प्रोसेशन में कई लोगों के पास हथियार भी था, डंडे भी थे। पुलिस आप कह रहे हैं कि थी जमीन पे, बट अगर वो पुलिस थी तो फिर ये भी कैसे होने दिया, बताइए।
देखिए, मैं अब राव साहब ने क्या कहा है मुझे मालूम नहीं, और किस तथ्य के आधार पे कहा ये वो जानते हैं, क्योंकि उनकी लोकसभा क्षेत्र है वो। लेकिन मेरे पर अभी तक ऐसी कोई जानकारी नहीं है, ना किसी टेलीविजन के पर्दे पर और किसी समाचार पत्र में इस तरह का कोई मैंने फोटो देखा है जिसमें उनके पास कोई इस तरह के हथियार उनके पास हों जो गैर कानूनी तरीके के हों, जो गैर कानूनी तरीके से उन्होंने रखे हों। हाँ, ये सामान्य डंडा लाठी लेकर ये हमेशा ये शोभा यात्राओं में चलते हैं, और ये जो लाठी डंडे हैं ये तो शोभा यात्राओं में हम जो भी प्रदर्शन होता है वो प्रदर्शन करते रहते हैं। ये कोई पहली बार नहीं है, आप देखेंगे हर शोभा यात्रा में इस तरह का वो लाठी डंडों को लेके प्रदर्शन करते हैं, और ये हमारी ये होता आया पहले से भी।
ओके सर, आपने हमसे कहा था कि पुलिस ने नूह के इंसिडेंट के बाद सिक्योरिटी पूरे स्टेट में इंक्रीज की हुई है, बट सर नूह के मंडे वाले हादसा के बाद पूरे राज्य में, अगर आप हरियाणा को देखें, बहुत सारे ऐसे घटना हुई हैं। सर इस पे आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है?
देखिए, मेरा इतना कहना है कि जो भी ये घटनाएं हुई हैं बड़ी दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण हैं। ये भाईचारे को समाप्त करने की एक साजिश की बू इसमें नजर आती है, और सिक्योरिटी जैसे जैसे घटनाएं की सिक्योरिटी बढ़ती गई, और देखिए आप देखिए कितनी तेजी से वहां पर फोर्सेस को डिप्लॉय किया गया, ये आप सब ने देखा है। बहुत तेजी से सिक्योरिटी को डेवलप भी किया गया, और बहुत तेजी से ही वहां पर सामान्य स्थिति को कंट्रोल में करने का काम भी वहां के प्रशासन ने किया है। ये ठीक है, ये घटनाएं घटी जो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, ये नहीं घटनी चाहिए थी।
ऑलराइट सर, मतलब दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण तो बिल्कुल है सर, बट मैं आपसे ये समझना चाह रही हूँ कि ये घटनाएं हो ही क्यों रही हैं जब पुलिस की सिक्योरिटी पूरे स्टेट में बढ़ाई गई है। सर मैं फिर से वही प्रश्न पूछूंगी आपसे।
मैं इससे इनकार नहीं करता, लेकिन नई नई जगह जहां संभावना नहीं थी, अंदेशा नहीं था, वहां इस तरह की छुटपुट घटनाएं हुई हैं। लेकिन अब पूरी तरह से सामान्य स्थिति है, पूरी स्थिति को कंट्रोल में कर लिया गया है। अब कहीं पर कोई ऐसी घटना नहीं नजर आती है।
All right, the Union Minister and the Faridabad MP saying that it is a situation of calm. Sir, thank you for joining us. Let's check in now with my colleague Anvit, who is actually on the ground. He's been bringing us reports from the Haryana region through the day today. Anvit, thank you for joining us here on the show. Anvit, bring our audiences context. Have incidents taken place today? Have incidents of violence taken place today? We know protests happened, but have any clashes happened today anywhere? Right now, is there a situation of calm across the state?
Not today. No incidents were reported of violence, but you can see the massive presence of police. You can see this police van that is passing by. Other than that, rapid action force teams are deployed. There's a van of the rapid action force as well, and there again is a unit of the rapid action force that is deployed at this corner. But even though no new incident of violence were reported today, the point on ground is that, do you see those shops that are all shut? The shutters are all down. Even today, between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m., when the curfew was lifted for the locals to arrange for essentials, these shops remained closed. The shutters remained down because none of the shopkeepers had the courage to open their shops and to function as they function normally, because the fear prevails in this area in Nuh. We are reporting right now from Nuh, the main area where the violence took place. Just 3 kilometers from here is the Nalladeshwar temple, where the violence actually sparked from during the procession, because that is the temple from where the procession has started, and it was to go to the other temple. But before it could reach there, a group of people intercepted and the mob, they pelted stones, and they were armed with rods and sticks and even pistols for that matter. But similar allegations have been alleged, have been raised from the other side as well. Police, the locals are saying that they were, even those who were taking up the procession, they were brandishing pistols, they had sticks, and they had rods in their hand. So allegations are being raised from both the sides. When we put these questions to the police, they have said that they are in a very initial stage of, very nascent stage of investigation, and that 116 people have been arrested, 41 FIRs have been arrested, at least 60 people have also been detained. But they are saying that they are yet to seek custody of these people. They will be interrogated, and 3 main aspects that the police are trying to investigate this entire matter. These 3 aspects are: one is that they want to know if what was the point of contention, why did this violence spark, and why did it snowball into a riot-like situation. Second, police wants to find out whether there were some people, some elements who were trying to mobilize these rioters, and at whose behest were these rioters or these people who were carrying out vandalism and arson, at whose behest were they acting. Third, police wants to know that there are certain criminal elements like Monu Manesar, whose video also came out. He had been appealing to people to join this Jalabhishek Yatra in large numbers, and this man has a criminal background, and the police of Rajasthan is also after him to arrest him, but he is evading arrest. So this man also has a criminal background. There are 2-3 more elements who have criminal antecedents, and they were somewhere or the other linked to this entire Jalabhishek Yatra. So police are wanting to know, are there outside elements who can be responsible, and those who were taking out this procession, were they in continuous touch with these people, so that they can find out what is the larger picture, and was there any larger conspiracy, because the conspiracy angle is being talked about since the very beginning. Even if we talk about the FIR, conspiracy angle has been mentioned, but we when put this question to the SP, he said that so far he has not made any comment on record, and he said that investigation is on and they can't comment as of now whether this was entirely a conspiracy or it was all in the spur of a moment.
Okay. Anvit, thank you for bringing us that context. Let me just introduce to our audiences the 4 guests that we have with us this evening to take a deeper dive into this entire story. All right, we have with us Arvind Kumar Jain. He's a former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Sir, we'll be coming to you for your expertise on what it is like to make sure that a state like UP, like a state like Haryana, big states essentially, are secure. Vinod Bansal, a spokesperson of the VHP, is also with us. He was there with us yesterday too, and we had this conversation for the first time. Alok Vats is with us. He's a political analyst. And Sujata Paul, also with us a few days ago, is with us. She's a spokesperson from the Congress. Good evening. Thank you for joining us, all of you. I'd like to first go over to Arvind Kumar Jain. He's, as we just said earlier, a former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Sir, thank you for joining us. Sir, I want to understand from you, as we've told our audiences already, our reporters have indicated that knowledge that videos were being circulated was already there. Our reporters on the ground knew that videos were being circulated. People on the ground knew that there was tension before the procession even went out on Monday itself. Now, we've spoken to police officers. They've said that 1,000 people had been deployed at the secure points. When you take a look at this situation, sir, what more could have been done?
After considering the entire situation, I was not aware of all these developments, but after considering the entire situation, my viewpoint is that preventive arrest should have been made of notorious elements of the area. Number two, the drones should have been deployed and search should have been taken of the route, entire route, because so many videos were surfacing all the time. So, video had come of Monu Manesar also that I shall also be joining, and people should join in large numbers. So people should have been there, and Nuh administration, Nuh police and Haryana police should have been alerted, and they should have deployed extra forces. All the rooftops on the route should have been searched after examining pictures from the drone. And action should have been taken against all those people. But there are no two opinions that people were armed, and they were heavily armed, and they were prepared for this procession, and they were waiting for brick batting. So either they were waiting for Monu Manesar, they wanted to attack Monu Manesar. They were aggrieved because they came to know that he is joining the procession, or he is wanted from Rajasthan. Right. So either that precipitated the entire thing, or there is always a possibility that some provocative slogans must have been shouted. But police should have been there. Police should have contained those people, and it was their duty to protect the ladies, children who were part of the procession. And if 1,000 people had been deployed, then I think it's a failure. And they should have made ample preparations. They knew very well that recently there were raids on cyber criminals also in Nuh, and so many people were arrested. That's why the cyber police station of Nuh was attacked and ransacked by these unruly mobs. They wanted to destroy the evidence which had been collected. So preparations should have been made, and solid preparations should have been made. Police should have been around the procession, in the front, in the back, rear and right flank and left flank, and they should have provided protection to the procession. If they have given permission, if the district administration police has given permission, then arrangements are supposed to be made by police. And now, because such communal incidents have taken place, very drastic action is required against these elements in Nuh. There is no dearth of such elements in Nuh. Of whatever I have heard about that area, and we have seen several gangs operating off Mehwat in western Uttar Pradesh, and the notorious criminals. They hijack the trawlers carrying cars, tractors. Area has been notorious for all this. So precautions will have to be taken, and for future also, policing will have to be geared up in this area. The police forces will have to be increased, and only then the area can be sanitized.
Okay. Sir, let me just tell you and the rest of our audiences, when it comes to tonight's discussion, I want to ask you about two different things. We're going to discuss, as you just did, sir, what actually happened in the original incident. I'm also going to come back for a second round of questions on the other incidents that have taken place after Monday. So I'll come back to you to get more detail about that. Right now, let's go to Vinod Bansal from the VHP. He's with us. He was also with us yesterday. Vinod Bansal ji, I want to ask you, the Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Haryana, Dushyant Chautala, has come on record to say that the organizers, and by the organizers he means the VHP, that organized the procession on Monday, he said they gave incorrect information to the police. They did not give the correct estimate of the numbers of people that would be there. So how is the VHP responding to this?
No, Toya, everything is very known to the government and the agency of the area, and we have taken the permission well before in advance, number one. Number two is that no one in the country can estimate the actual number of persons who can participate in yatra. It's always based on the estimate. Number two. Number three is that this is the biggest pilgrimage for the Hindu community, and this is the land of Bhagwan Krishna. And there are 5 Pandav-Kalin temples are there, situated, which are pious tirth of our Hindu community. And you see the way, थोड़ा सा लाइन में डिस्टर्बेंस है, आई रिक्वेस्ट टू गेट इट करेक्टेड. दूसरा ये कि मैं कहता हूँ कि जो मेवात है, मेवात भगवान कृष्ण की पावन धरा है, उसको आप जिहादी धरा क्यों बनाना चाहते हो? कौन लोग हैं आखिरकार? जैसे अभी जैन साहब ने बताया कि इट्स बिकमिंग ए लैंड ऑफ क्रिमिनल्स, it is becoming the land of cyber crimes, it is becoming the land of gau hatyare, and it is becoming repeated attackers and perpetrators on the Hindu community. आप देखिएगा, अगर आप कुछ भी कहें, मान लो कोई, मैं मानता नहीं इस बात को, लेकिन अगर आप ये कहते हो मैंने कोई आंकड़े गलत दिए, या मैं कहता हूं कि मान लो मैं स्वॉर्ड लेके भी चला, मैं कोई हथियार, कोई इलीगल वेपन मेरे पास नहीं थे कोई भी, लेकिन वेपन थे, तो क्या इसका मतलब मुझे अटैक कर दोगे? या मोनू मानेसर जिसने कोई वीडियो जारी किया, सपोज, वैसे तो वो वीडियो उस समय नहीं जारी किया था, पुराना वीडियो वायरल हो रहा है, लेकिन फिर भी अगर मोनू मानेसर ने कोई वीडियो जारी किया, इसका मतलब आप किसी को ये अधिकार नहीं मिल जाता कि मेरे ऊपर अटैक कर देंगे. जो हजारों की संख्या में जो आप बच्चे और महिलाएं हैं, उनको आप चारों तरफ से घेर करके कारगिल का युद्ध आप लड़ेंगे.
क्लियर करना चाहती हूँ, कल भी आप हमारे डिबेट पे आके यही,
मुझे एक्चुअली आपकी आवाज प्रॉपरली नहीं आ रही प्रिया जी.
ऑल राइट मिस्टर बंसल जी, हम वो कनेक्शन फिक्स करने की कोशिश करते हैं. Yesterday too, though, we'd had this exact point made by Mr. Bansal, to which we'd asked him to focus on the question that we were asking, because we aren't in any way justifying the attacks, but we can still question the intention and how the yatra itself was carried out. Let's go over to Sujata Paul. She's with us from the Congress. Sujata, thank you for joining us. Sujata, I want to ask you, on one side, we're seeing the BJP government led by Manohar Lal Khattar coming out and saying that there is a larger conspiracy at play. Earlier, you had the Home Minister. He said that there is some mastermind who has planned all of this. At the same time, in the same government, you have the Deputy Chief Minister, and that Deputy Chief Minister has said that there seems like there was some police mismanagement. How do you see all of these reactions? Because they're coming from the same place, but they're each pointing at different causes.
This entire thing is creating havoc in the state of Haryana, and Haryana has never seen this kind of writing. But I do remember what Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, had said in Karnataka, that if Congress wins elections, then there'll be riots. But you're seeing what is happening, and there's a pattern to it. And I will come to all these gentlemen that you've just mentioned. If you remember, in Ghansali in 2018, there were riots in Uttarakhand. And this was a precursor to the elections in 2019. And again, this year in Purola, the same thing happened. There were riots. And one specific community was being targeted. Now, anybody who is indulging in any criminal activity must be brought to book, and that's where it stops. However, if I go by what Mr. Satpal Malik ji said, that जो पुलवामा करवा सकता है वो कुछ भी करवा सकता है, because you look at the kind of statements which are coming in. You heard Mr. Anil Vij yesterday when he said that there is a mastermind, and we don't know how it happened. That means he's admitting that the government didn't know anything. Today, the Prime Minister, he says that there are drones through which he keeps a watch, and before a thing happens, he comes to know about it. But now, when you have Dushyant Chautala coming out and saying that the organizers are responsible, that means the VHP has been blamed squarely and surely. However, when Haryana Chief Minister Mr. Khattar says that this is a well-planned conspiracy and we don't know how it happened, it raises a lot of questions on him. Now, if there are weapons being carried, how can weapons be legal? Weapons are never legal, and the VHP should know that. But you just had this interview with the
weapons can never legal. Weapons can never be legal.
How could you say like this? When it is his turn, you keep quiet.
Right.
Now, Union Minister of State Rao Inderjeet Singh, when he met
don't lie on the national channel,
him of the situation today, I wonder what happened, because his statement was that who gave weapons to the religious yatris at Nuh? So that is a question for Vinod Bansal also. But I wonder if the Prime Minister told him, "Tum abhi chup raho, ye kuch aur hai." Because what is happening is you're spoiling the atmosphere of the country. You're deliberately creating this communal violence. Because there are elections next year, I request the VHP and the Bajrang Dal, you are going to leave this legacy for your children also. God knows whether they will exist, because if they are going to be satisfied, sacrificed for this particular issue, are you going to be satisfied with it? No, the country needs brotherhood, and like my leader Rahul Gandhi has said, stop scattering and splattering the country with kerosene. You will not be able to control it, and that's what you're doing only for elections. So stop it, and remember what Satpal Malik has said. This is not intelligence failure. This has been done deliberately. This is a double failure, double tragedy, Sarkar, and this is a very weak government.
Sujata, just stay with us, please. Mr. Bansal and Sujata, and to each of our other panelists, let me make it very clear. One thing I don't want happening for the rest of this conversation too is us speaking over each other. We need to be able to actually talk to each other. Mr. Bansal, now we're going to come to you. If you could give a very quick reply, because I haven't yet even gone over to my fourth panelist. So please give a quick reply, sir, then I'll go over to our fourth panelist.
मैं कहता हूं, देखिए ये बार बार हमें दोषी ठहरा रहे हैं। वो मामन खान जो वहां का विधायक है, उसने विधानसभा में क्या कहा, अगर कोई मेवात के अंदर घुसेगा तो हम ये कर देंगे, वो कर देंगे। आखिरकार आफ्ताब जो थे, उसने तो पुलिस के ऊपर भी प्रहार करने के लिए इंस्टिगेट किया लोगों को। राशिद जो था, उसने तो ये कच्चा चबा जाओ, अगर पुलिस वाले कोई सादा बेस में दिखते हैं तो उनको कच्चा चबा जाओ। and whatever statement the Congress is giving repeatedly, and whatever the like-minded opposition parties are giving the statement to instigate the jihadi communities. That देखिए, मैंने बीच में नहीं बोला था, प्रिया जी जरा इनको बोलिए, जरा ये भी थोड़ा सा वो लहजा सीखें। आप भी थोड़ा लहजा सीखिए मैडम। आपको बड़ी मिर्ची लग रही थी ना अभी, आपको बड़ी मिर्ची लग रही थी बीच में बोलने में, इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ जब हिंदू समाज बोलता है ना, जब हिंदू समाज बोलता है तो निश्चित रूप से कांग्रेस और उसके लाइफ में उसकी कोख में सीजन में जितने भी राजनेता है ना, उनको मिर्ची लगनी स्वाभाविक है। आपकी गलती नहीं मेरी बहन, आपकी गलती नहीं है। जिहादियों का पैरोकार करना और देखिए 1984 के जैसे राइट करना, आप मुझे बताइए जिस तरह से आप मुझे बताइए कि 1992 का पता है ना वो अजमेर में क्या हुआ था, तंदूर कांड किसने किया था।
Now take the question over to the fourth panelist that we have with us right now, because I need to, sir,
और जब ये बीच में बोल रही है तो आप चुपचाप रही।
Sir, please let me, one second, I'd like to ask both the Congress and the VHP spokesperson to give me a second. Alright, I'm going to go over to our fourth panelist. No, alright, sir, we've given you a few minutes. We now need to go over to the fourth panelist. Sir, we've given you, alright, we've given you enough time, sir. Alright, we're going to go over to the fourth panelist that we have with us over here on the show. I do want to understand what Alok Vats has to say on this entire situation. Mr. Vats, I want to bring up the comment that we've highlighted a little while earlier too. The statement that has come in from the Deputy Chief Minister in the Haryana government, where he said that two things. He said, A, that there does seem to be, and this is the comment that we're focusing on, he said, A, that the organizers did not convey the correct information, and B, he said there does seem to be some police mismanagement. That statement of his seemingly stands in contradiction with what the Chief Minister has said, where the Chief Minister has just said it's a conspiracy. His statement, the Chief Minister's statement, doesn't acknowledge any kind of police mismanagement. So, what is your reaction to what seemingly seems as if, these two planks aren't aligned?
Let me tell you one thing, that what the Chief Minister has said is quite correct. There could have been a conspiracy. And what the Deputy Chief Minister has said, that is also correct, that there is no doubt that there was intelligence failure and the police mismanagement. 1,000 police personnel were present there according to various reports. What were they doing? 1,000 is not a small amount. And you see who perpetrated this whole thing. When the stone pelting started, after that this ruckus took place. And carrying a lathi is a common phenomenon in any julus, in any yatra. Carrying a lathi and having a headgear, it's a common practice. So once they started pelting the stones from various corners, and after that they even started firing, that means this was part of a conspiracy. Why in the fourth year it was being done? Last 3 years also, the same procession took place, the same route was adopted and nothing happened. Why it happened this year? And what happened in the other parts of the district, that is in retaliation to what happened here.
Okay, Mr. Vats, I just want to ask you, one second, I just want to ask you,
this,
Mr.
the
Vats,
Chief Minister has taken everything under his stride.
the BJP Minister of State, Rao Inderjit Singh, has said, why were they carrying weapons? You were saying carrying lathis is normal. If so, why did he make that statement?
Well, I don't know who was carrying weapons. What I am aware is only lathis. But if somebody was carrying weapons, whether it was legal or illegal, is a matter of investigation. And if they were carrying illegal weapons, then they are also culprits, to be treated as culprits. But you should go into the whole story, that where it started from, who perpetrated this. Once the stone pelting started and thereafter there was firing done, the whole thing got flared up. And, all this happened. Now what the Chief Minister has done, 41 FIRs have been lodged and 116 people have been booked, taken to task. And extra paramilitary forces have been deployed in various parts to control the situation. So that is what is required. Now let the investigation be done, and let the reports come out. Whosoever is found guilty, he must be dealt with stringent punishment possible in the fast court track, and not wait for long.
I'd like to thank all of the panelists who are with us, sir. Thank you for your answer. I'd also like to thank the other leaders who joined us. I'd also like to thank the ex-DGP from UP who joined us for this entire conversation. I do want us, before we close out this entire debate, this entire conversation, I do want us to have one more conversation. We have with us Surinder Jain. He is the Joint Secretary of the VHP. The VHP is the organization from which we just spoke to a representative. It's also the organization that had organized the procession that took place in Nuh on Monday, after which all of this has happened. Let's go over to him with our first question. Sir, कहा जा रहा है कि threats थे ट्विटर पे, कई सारे रिपोर्ट्स थे कि वायलेंस हो सकता है. अगर आपके लोगों को ये पता था, अगर वीएचपी के मेंबर्स को ये पता था, तो वो कोर्ट या पुलिस के पास नूह के पहले क्यों नहीं गए?
पुलिस से हमारी निरंतर चर्चा हो रही और ये विषय हमारे संज्ञान में नहीं था. इंटेलिजेंस फेल्योर था, ये 100% है. और इसलिए जब पुलिस से निरंतर चर्चा हो रही है, परसों मेरे साथ डीसी वहां के एसपी बैठे हुए हैं कार्यक्रम के अंदर. उन्होंने भी एक बार भी नहीं कहा. वो हमको कहते कि खतरा है, इस तरह की तैयारियां हैं, हम रैली रद्द कर सकते थे. हमारे साथ महिलाएं थी, बच्चे थे, हम क्या उनकी जान जोखिम में डालने के लिए ले गए थे? जब बच्चों के साथ यात्रा की जाती है, वो तीर्थ यात्रा होती है, कोई दंगा भड़काने के लिए नहीं होती. तैयारियां उन लोगों की थी, रोक पर लगनी चाहिए. और दुर्भाग्य से कुछ राजनेता इस पर ऐसी गंदी राजनीति खेल रहे हैं जो इनके पापों पर पर्दा ढकने की कोशिश कर.
ओके, बट सर मैं आपसे ये समझना चाहती हूँ, वीएचपी पर भी ये एलिगेशन लगाया गया है कि वीएचपी ने भी काफी हेट स्पीचेस किए थे, नूह में ही नहीं बट पहले भी, जिसके वजह से ये सारा इंसिडेंट जिसके बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं, ये पूरी घटना हुई थी. सर इस पे आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है?
ये बेहुदे आरोप हैं. ये मामन खां के बारे में क्यों नहीं बोलते कुछ भी, जिसने असेंबली के अंदर कहा कि कोई मेवात में घुसकर तो दिखाए. रोज सरतन से जुदा के नारे लगाते हैं, इनमें से कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता. और केवल नारे नहीं लगाते, काट देते हैं. दिल्ली के अंदर मुहर्रम की ताजिए, उसके बाद हिंदुओं पर हमला, कहीं कावड़ियों पर हमला. कौन हेट स्पीच कर रहा है, कौन कत्लेआम कर रहा है, कौन मॉब लिंचिंग कर रहा है, ऑन रिकॉर्ड है. हम बार बार मीडिया को वो जारी कर चुके हैं. उस दिन आपका भी पत्रकार वहां पर मौजूद था जब मेरा भाषण चल रहा था. एक भी शब्द किसी के खिलाफ था? मैंने खुद कहा हमारी रैली किसी के खिलाफ नहीं है.
All right. The only silver lining seemingly in this story is that the situation right now does seem to be relatively calm. I'd like to thank Surendra Jain for joining us here. I'd like to thank the VHP for sending their representatives, but I'd also like to thank everyone from both sides who has participated. It's time for a short break. This is Plain Speak, and on the other side, we're going to be discussing a very different issue, the Delhi ordinance that was tabled in the Lok Sabha, and the fence sitters finally deciding which side they're going to side on. Does it set the tone for 2024? We're changing things up in just a few minutes. On the other side, this is Plain Speak.